Yeah, everyone, good morning and good evening. Let's start with today's session and let's see what exactly we have to do today. A quick recap. What we did yesterday is the workflow. We have created a configuration, Terraform configuration, wherein we saw how exactly we can initialize. One important thing, guys, when you try to initialize, make sure you're there inside the folder. This is my primary folder, TF Valaxy. Under that, I have a resource group which I am trying to create. That is a folder. Inside this, you have to come and run the Terraform init, because if you're not in the right folder, the Terraform init will not run. In order to run your Terraform init, you will need this configuration. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so init is basically will initialize the Terraform working directory. It will download the provider. Provider is nothing but it's a plugin, correct? Which will help you to connect to cloud APIs, which will basically help you to manage your infrastructure using Terraform. Then we got something called Terraform validate, which is basically validate the syntax. Then plan, which will do a preview. Before plan, there is one more command, Terraform FMT, which will do the formatting for you. Apply will make sure that whatever you desire, that state is achieved. And then we got the destroy button, which will destroy whatever you have created using Terraform. Okay, as if now I've just showed you that it is destroying everything, but later I'll show you if you want to destroy any specific resource, even that is possible. It's not that you need to delete everything. If you want to have some specific resource deleted, even that is possible. Okay, so today we'll go and start writing this configuration from scratch again, and we'll see how exactly the configuration, what are these configuration means. Let me just close this window and create a new window, new folder. I'll name it as storage account. So today we'll create a storage account and we'll write the configuration again from scratch. Okay, so let me have something written as resource group. Let me have something named as provider.tf. So I'll have couple of files, so I'll be segregating my things now. I'll not put everything inside one single configuration. So in this provider.tf, I'll have provider information. Okay, now let's go and see how we can put in the provider information. Okay, so the first thing what you start with, you start with the high level block in Terraform. Okay, the high level block is nothing but is Terraform block. Terraform block, you can call it as high level block, you can call it as Terraform block, but this is the one which comes at the very first when you're writing your configuration. This is the block which will contain your provider information. This is the block which will contain your Terraform CLI information. Okay, done. So this is your Terraform block. So the important thing which you require in Terraform block is the provider information. So this is require provider. Now, how exactly I'm getting all this output? This is all thanks to the Terraform plugin which I'm using, guys. If you don't have that plugin, you'll not get this output. Okay, in case if you're not getting output, do a control space, then you should see this output. Control space. Okay, now this is the place. Now, if you see the first option, require provider. So this is what provider version you want to use. That information will come over here. Okay. Now you need to give a local name to your provider. You can give any name over here, guys. There's nothing you have to be very specific. Give any name, but whatever name you're giving over here, make sure that same name is used elsewhere. What Terraform suggests, what are the best practices when you're defining the local name? So you should give the provider name over here. That is what Terraform suggests. So we are using Azure, correct? So we are trying to connect to Azure Resource Manager. So that's why Terraform suggests to use Azure RM. This name, this is a local name. This name is used for referencing on your local configuration, guys. This has nothing to do with the provider, nothing. So this is whatever name you want to give, you can give it over here. What are the best practice? Terraform suggests that you go and get the information, get the right naming convention. Azure RM stands for Azure Resource Manager. So hence Terraform suggests to go and use the same name. Okay. Once you have this, you have two information for provider. There are two things which is required. First is source, from where you want to download the provider. The source. Okay. Now, if you see the example, the global source address from the provider intend to use, such as HashiCorp/AWS. This is for AWS. Same thing, I can use it for Azure also. This is, don't worry about the formatting part. I can just change this to Azure RM. Okay. Source, you need the source. And the second thing is required is the version. Now, yesterday, if you guys have noticed, I have used something like this yesterday. Greater than equal to 2.0, something like this I have used. Now this, if I have such greater than equal to sign used, so what will happen? Anything about 2.0 will get downloaded. Now yesterday, if you I go back to the provider information, yesterday what we did, this is what we used. And what has happened? What provider got downloaded? 3.52, because that was the latest one which got downloaded. Now if anything else happens, like if there is 3.54, 3.58 or 4 point something, just because I'm using this constraint, it will get downloaded, correct? Now there is a great chance that my configuration may not work if there is a change in provider version. If suppose if it is a minor change like 3.52, 53, 54, that's a minor change, then I don't see any impact happening on my configuration. But if it's a major change, like there are blocks got changed and the complete version got changed, and if your configuration got upgraded to 4.0, just imagine your configuration will start failing. So during production, when we talk about production, this is not the right way of using. This is not the right way of using, guys. So what is the right way of using then? The right way of using is you have to be very specific which version you want to use. Now what is the latest version? As if I see it's 3.52.0. So you have to be very specific in the version which you want to use when you're using it for production. This way you have to use. Okay. Sometimes it is okay. Like just imagine you work in a company, they say if there's a change over here in this minor version, that is okay. But if it is a change in the major version, that is not okay. If it's a minor change, auto upgrade is happening, that's totally fine for me. But how do we do that? So for doing that, there is an option of using this sign. This sign will make sure that whenever there's a change in the minor version, like if there's a changes 3.53, 54, 55, 56, then it will let you upgrade automatically. But if there is something like 4.0.0, it will not let you do it. This is also one way. Okay. This is one way, greater than is one way, less than is one way, and equal to is one way. This is also you can use. Equal to is also one way. So there are multiple ways, but what are the best practices in for production? You have to be very specific what version you are using. Okay, two things. Source. Okay. Okay, this source, what you see, this is not just HashiCorp/Azure RM. The complete source is registry.terraform.io/HashiCorp/RM. Like if you go to the right register, something is this it is like this terraform dot registry.terraform.io, registry.terraform dot io slash, then this part comes in. Or do we have to mention everything? The answer is no. Terraform is smart enough and he knows where to go and find the registry. This is the actual link. Okay. Now this is the require provider. Now there was one more version. This is your Terraform block. This is also called as top level block. And then you got one more thing in it defined. Like if I go back to my previous provider file, there was something called required version mentioned over here. Now what exactly is this? So which is mentioned at the very top. Require version. Okay. Now this is basically the Terraform CLI version which you're using. So this is something I have mentioned as greater than equal to 1.0.0 and we are currently using something 1.31. Can we go and verify that quickly? Let's go and set this. See where I am right now. I'm inside storage account where my configuration is getting created. Now let me go do a quick check. 1.3.3. Now this thing is completely optional. Even though if you don't mention this, this will go and check your underlying local version and based on that it will create the log file. Now this is optional, but I will always suggest to use this option. Why? Because before 1.0, if you go to the Terraform CLI, if you have installed CLI, which is prior 1.0.0, there were drastic change in the CLI commands. Now after the major upgrade to 1.0.0, there are multiple changes which has happened. Okay, so there is a great chance that if you have not mentioned and if you're using older version of CLI, your configuration may not work. Plus, if you want, like if you're sharing this configuration with others, if you want them to use something greater than 1.0, then you have to be very specific in your Terraform block itself. So that is what this required version is all about. So this is again a best practice wherein you can have the right Terraform version installed on your local system also to work with Terraform configuration. So this part is known as Terraform block. This is known as it is known as high level block also, wherein your provider information, your Terraform configuration information all comes in. Okay, the first thing to start with, Terraform block. The second block is the provider block. So the provider block is basically used to specify provider related configuration. If you have anything provider related configuration, if you want to specify, that comes over here. Now you need to use the same name which you have defined. Like suppose if you have defined ABC over here, inside this block you'll get the same name. But what did I define? I defined Azure RM. Okay. Now in this you can have all the provider related information if you want, but for now let me just define the feature and leave it blank for now. Now this is what we have done. Two blocks, a top level block that is Terraform block wherein I have defined Terraform related information. Second, I got the provider block which is I've kept blank for now. If you have any specific requirement, Terraform provider related requirement, you can go and update that over there. Now this is where my provider.tf file got created. Now I can go and run the command terraform init to download the provider. Now what did I mention over here? I have mentioned 3.5.2, 3.52.0, correct? So I want that to be downloaded. Now if you see this, finding HashiCorp Azure RM, installing HashiCorp, which version it is installing? 3.52.0. Okay, let's wait while I have not mentioned the resource yet. That resource I'll mention later. For now, I'll just keep it as it is. I can have a resource block also created. The third block is, now if you see the initialization has happened. If I go and show you the log file, see what is the constant mentioned in the file and what is the version got downloaded. So this is how you should use Terraform block. This is how the version needs to be called. Okay. Now this is, I got the init done. The next is, this is I want to create a storage account. For creating a storage account, the first thing is I need to create a resource group. Correct? Without a resource group, can we create a storage account? The answer is no. Correct? So we need to go and create one more file. We'll name it as resource-group.tf. Okay. Now this is where I'll be defining the resource group. So this block is known as resource block. If you just type resource, so the resource block, all your resources with the local name and everything will be defined inside this. Okay. Now I've selected the resource block. The first, there are two space over here. One wherein you will define the resource type, what type of resource you want to create. The second, you will define the resource local name. This local name which Terraform will refer while working with your configuration. Okay. So resource type, what exactly are we looking for? We're looking for Azure RM underscore resource group. This one. Now what exactly is this? I don't know. So this is, you can check it on the Terraform website. I'll show you how do we walk through the Terraform website. But this is how you can Azure RM resource group. This is one we have selected. Now this name, as I said, it's a local name. This will be used by Terraform for referencing. This could be, this is the local name which is used to for resource to refer elsewhere. I'll show you the importance of this name. Okay. Now this is not your resource name, guys. This is the local name which Terraform will be using for referencing. Okay. So what I exactly am, so I'll just name this whatever I want, dev or DevOps hyphen RG. Okay. So this is the local name for the resource group I'm giving. Okay. Now, when you create a resource group, there are two things which is required. First is the name, what you want to create on the cloud. And second, the location. How do I know? So if you go to your resource, when you try to create the resource group, I fixed my login issue which I was having yesterday. So see, this is the resource group. Now when you go and create a resource group directly, what all things it is asking? Firstly, the name of the resource group and the region. That's it. It will, if I just put in this two information, my resource will be created. That is the least which you can provide. Later, if you want to add tags and all, that's a different story. Okay. What is the least you require is the resource group name and the region, correct? So that is what it is asking over here. You need to have the name, give the name. So the name will be in strings. So it will always come in inverted commas. So you have to define the string values over here. So whatever name you want. Now you want to have a name as well, XCRG hyphen dev, something like this. This is the resource group you want. Okay. Location you want, again a string value you can give as East US, this way. Now this is how you will be defining your resource block. Now the resource, again I'm defining, again I'm reiterating, this is my resource block where my resource will be defined. This is the resource type, what type of resource you're creating. This is the resource local name which Terraform will be using for referencing. And these are the prerequisite. Minimum you need to have this two information, name and location. From where exactly I got it, I'll show you the Terraform documentation in a minute. But for now, these are the least, and this is known as resource argument. What exactly it is known as? This is known as, this part is known as resource argument, wherein we have the resource type and the argument values we have defined. Okay, two things, resource block, we got the name and the location. Are we good till here, guys? Now, if you want to verify if everything is looking good, quick Terraform validate to make sure that whatever you have written till now is, is good. There's no issue with the configuration. And if you want to do a quick syntax check formatting, then Terraform format, both the files of mine got formatted. Are we good?
Yeah, how
Anyone?
this that Git Bash and that Visual Studio are connected to each other?
Git Bash and Visual Studio. Git
Means
Bash is
you're
not
running that. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Git Bash is not connected. So this Bash I'm using just for Bash shell basically. So I'm not doing anything with Git right now. So don't consider this as something to do with Git. This window, which I'm black window, which I'm using, this is I'm just using so that I can have the Bash shell. Okay, and it's not connected. If you see, I'm there inside the folder right now. If you see where I am exactly, I'm inside the folder where I'm writing the configuration. So if you go and list this, you will find out that all my configuration is there inside that folder. So there's no connection as such. It just I'm
Okay,
in the black
this.
screen. I'm in the terminal. That's it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Okay. So if we are good till here, now my target is not to create a resource group. My target is to create a storage account. So I got, so this is how I'm segregating the files. See, I'm not putting everything. I could have done and I've kept all the configuration inside the same file, but that is the wrong way of doing, guys. Because today we are just creating a simple storage account. Tomorrow you'll have a VM created, web app created, storage SQL database created, Azure Data Factories created, or many things configuration you might create, and you may end up writing around 1000 line of code. And if you put everything inside one same single file, so debugging becomes a headache at that point of time. It's better to segregate things. Okay, it's always better to keep things separate and segregate things. Now I got the resource created. Resource need a storage account. Okay, so what I can do, I can have one more configuration written. I name it as storage underscore account dot df. Okay, now I'll have one more resource block over here. What is the type I need? Azure RM storage. See the storage account. Uh, Local name. Do you want to give a local name? Yeah, just name it as DevOps SA. DevOps well SA. Okay. Now, what all things do we need in storage account? How do I know? One way, go to this storage account tab. What all things you need? Create. First, it is asking for my resource group name. Correct. It will require a resource group name. It is asking for storage account name. It is asking for the region. It is asking for performance. These are all star marking, guys. You cannot ignore it. You see this star? So if you want to have a storage account created, these are the things which is required. It is asking for redundancy. It is asking for performance, and in advance, there's nothing. Whatever is in the first page you see, these are the information which is required. Without this information, you cannot create a storage account, as simple as that. Okay. First, it is asking for your resource group name. Okay. Now the resource group I have defined in this file. Where did I define the resource group? I have defined the resource group in this file. I need to reference this resource group over here. I don't need to go and write the resource group name again over here. This is incorrect. You cannot do it this way. Now, because you have already have your resource group defined somewhere in a different file, it's not in the same file. How do you call that resource group name in this file? This can be done using, this is the method. Now this is the place where you will be using the local name. Okay, this can be done by the type, Azure's group type dot the local name dot the name. Understood? Type, resource type, the local name plus dot name. Copy this path, put it over here. This is how you will be referencing if you have defined something in some other file inside the same folder. So this will go and take the name now. Okay, now what else it's required? Name, correct? Resource group, storage account name. Okay, storage account name, this is not defined. You can give it as a string. I can use it as DevOps, Mailer, SA, something like this. So this is a string value. You can define it, no problem. Now what else? What else is required? Region. Now region is also defined, correct? Region is defined over here in my resource group name. Now can someone tell me how do I define region? This is not region. This is location. Can someone tell me how do I define the location? Anyone wants to try? How do I reference? What all things should be there for location? Anyone? I want to define the location name which is given over here. Over here. How do I reference it? Tell me.
You switch out the name for location at the end of that string.
So this is how we do it, correct? This is what you meant?
Correct.
Perfect. Awesome. This is how we'll be putting the location name. Okay. Two things. Resource group name, location. What else I require? Region done, storage account name done, performance. Okay. There are two performance, standard and premium. So this performance is known as account tier. Account tier. See, I don't remember this now. What is this performance called as in Terraform? Okay, this I don't remember. I'm sure this is known as account tier, but I'm not sure. How do I go and check? Now this is the right time to go to terraform.io, the official website of Terraform. Now in this, if you see there's an option of registry at the top. Go to the registry. Now this is the option you can go and look for provider. Okay, I wanted to show you later, but it's okay. Now in this, these are all the providers. So how many providers does Terraform has it right now? If you come down at the bottom, this much of provider what Terraform has it, 3,101 and still counting. Okay, these are the provider, but there are three tiers of provider: official, partner, community. Official is something what Terraform collaborates very closely with the cloud providers, and Terraform manages the entire thing. Now these are the official provider: AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes. So in official provider, we got around 35 official providers. Okay. Now if it is official, then you can blindly you can go and use the provider. It is all getting managed and maintained by Terraform and the cloud provider. They are working closely and they are managing things. Okay. So this is official, which you can use it. Second, you got partnered. Partner is basically Terraform is doing cross check. This is not getting managed by Terraform, but this is getting managed by the partners. But Terraform is making sure that all the required best practices, the security check and everything is followed. Okay, so this is Terraform is partnering with those providers, making sure that everything is in place. So even with partner, if you want to go and use partner Terraform provider, you can go and use it. Okay, how many partners provider do we have? 269, and the rest Community, this is like people like you and me who are creating their own providers, custom providers, and uploading it on Terraform registry. This is you should not use for production. Testing, it's okay. For production, you should never use this community one. Okay. So always try to stick with the official one. These are the all major cloud providers are there in official. Active Directory, AWS Cloud Control, you got Boundary, Helm, and everything is there. Okay. Google Beta, Google Workspace, everything is there. So stick with the official one. So we are using Azure. If I go in Azure, this is what the latest version is right now. 3.2.0. This was published 4 days ago. So see how frequently it is getting maintained. Okay. So lifecycle manager Azure using Azure Resource Manager API maintained by Azure team at Microsoft and Terraform team at HashiCorp. So they are collaborating together and managing this provider, official provider. So you can be very rest assured that this is from the right source, and this is the latest version. If you want to switch to some different version, you can see the drop down and you can switch to a different version also. Okay. How do you use this provider? So this is the piece of code which we have written. Require provider. How do you use it? This is how you will go and use it. Okay. Now if I click on the source, this will take me to the Git repository where the provider is kept. See, this is your Azure provider. This is the place from where the provider gets downloaded on your local system. Okay. Coming back, very important part over here, there is a documentation which is what you will be using at Stretch. This is the place which you will always come over here. Whenever you're writing any Terraform configuration, you don't need to write it everything from scratch. The way I'm doing it, not required, guys. You can come over here. Everything is there in this documentation. This is an official documentation for Azure where you can find out each and everything. Now, what exactly I'm looking for? I'm looking for storage account. Now, if I come down, do you see there's an option storage, resources, Azure RM storage account? This is the type, correct? If I look over here, I can get to know. See, I was right. This is account here. Now, this is if you come down, there are arguments. Now, wherever you see this required, these are the arguments which is it's required. And wherever you see optional, this is completely optional. Even though if you don't put it in your configuration, that is totally fine. But wherever you see this required, that means this is required. If you don't put this argument, you'll get error. So this is account tier. So account tier, let me go and define that. Account tier, what are the different types of account tier? We can have standard and premium. So definitely I want to stick with standard because premium will cost me more. So this is a string. I'll stick with standard. Okay. Now what else is required? We got the name, we got the resource group name, we got the location. Account kind is optional. Account here is required, entered. Now we need this replication method, account replication type. I'll stick with LRS. LRS stands for local redundancy, guys. So it supports LRS, GRS, RAGRS, ZRS, all these are supported. All other information is completely optional over here. What will happen if you don't put the required, like suppose this was required, I just commented this out. What will happen when you don't put the required information? Let me run the Terraform, validate first, then let me show you the error. Do you see this error? Missing required argument. The account argument replication type is required but not defined. So if you don't put in the right required argument, this is the error what Terraform will throw in front of you. So this is basically by seeing the error, you'll come to know, okay, This is what the mistake is. Can only consist lowercase. Now see this. I've used uppercase in storage account. So uppercase is not accepted in storage account. So it is asking you, the error is you need to have only lowercase one. Second, I have done a typo. I've given small standard. The S should be in capital. Okay. All this I've done it for purpose, guys, to make you aware this is how Terraform works. Okay. So Terraform will give you clear error like what's wrong with this Terraform validate command. Now let me see it again. The configuration is valid now. Let's run the command Terraform fmt and make sure everything is formatted. Done. All the files are formatted. Are we good till here? A very simple storage account what we are creating today. Okay. Now I can do the thing Terraform plan, Terraform apply, and I can go and create this resource. Any questions? Any doubt?
Yeah, yesterday I have tried to install the extension for the Terraform in the Visual Studio, but I am unable to install.
It's Visual Studio Code, correct? You're trying to install over there.
Yes.
Yeah. What is the issue? Error?
Yeah, okay. Means can I share screen or later? Means
Yeah,
if you
later.
are busy.
No, we'll do it later.
Okay.
But always share the error in the group so that we can have a look over there. So
Yeah, sure.
again, the plugin is this. We have to go to extension and we have to look for HashiCorp Terraform.
Means
Click
I'm
on it.
not getting that screen that's showing that extension icon.
Which version of Visual Studio Code you're using? Go in about and see what is the version. Whatever latest version you get it, you should have this. If you're not getting this option over here, at the top there is an option of extension also. At the top you should see the option of extension. If you're not getting the icon over here, that is okay, that is fine. If you're not getting the icon, that is fine, but you should see at the top you should have an extension option at the top also. Try it. If not, then let me know. Okay. Okay
Okay,
guys, so
thanks.
if no problem, if you see the plan now, this is what the plan looks like. It's a pretty big plan, because when you create a storage account, there are so many things are getting created along with the storage account. But for now, this is the first. It's creating a resource group. The second, it is creating your storage account over here. Now along with storage account, there's so many things getting added: primary, web endpoint, host, all this you can, if you want to go at granular level, and if you want to manage all this, and if you want to define all this by yourself, secondary location, then surely you can do it. That granular, that is what I said at the first day when I was explaining Terraform. Terraform can manage your high level services as well as the low level services. That granular Terraform can help you achieve. Okay. Now this is what, if I go and do the apply, I know the storage account will be created. I'll not do the apply. Now, one problem. I can do the apply and a storage account will be created. Now, can I reuse this configuration for creating one more storage account? The question is, can I reuse this configuration, which is already written by me now, for creating one more storage account? What do you think? What do you guys think? Can I reuse this configuration? If I want to reuse, what all things I need to do? Firstly, I have hard coded this resource group name. I have hard coded the location. Suppose I want to have a different location, West US. My resource group name is different. I have hard coded the storage account name. I have hard coded. Now I want to use premium, and I have a hard coded replication type. So this configuration which I have written it will surely will not be reused. You have hard coded the values. What did we do? We went ahead and hard coded Terraform values. If I want to share it with someone else, and if they want to use it, they need to come to my file, change the values, and do lot of things. And at the end, they will end up failing the complete failing the complete Terraform configuration. But this is not the right way of doing, guys. So what is the right way? The right way is when you define things as a variable. Now, what is variable? The values which may vary during runtime. Now, if you want to do something which the values might get changed later, at that time you need to have variables defined. Same like how we defined in ARM, how we define the pipeline variables. Remember pipeline variables when we were defining and changing the value when we were executing the pipeline? Same concept over here. You can go and define the value as a variable. Now you will have only one single file wherein you will have all your values hard coded, and that is the only location which, if you want to reuse the template, reuse the configuration, so you just need to go to that location, change the value. Now we got the variable concept also in Terraform. That is what we'll be using it, guys. Okay, so let me create one more file, name it as variables.tf. Okay, what all things I have hard coded? If I come down to this part, I've hard coded something called as resource group name, correct? Location, it's okay. So how do I define variables? So there is a variable block. We spoke about Terraform block, provider block, resource block. Now there's one more block called variable block. So all your variable will have customized variable will come inside. Now you can give a variable name. So this is totally up to you what name you want to give. So just resource, I'll name it as resource name. Give whatever name, it's up to you guys. There's no hard and fast rule what you need to name you want to give. Now over here, if you want to give description as such, like what exactly this is, so this is, you can define it's a resource group name, so that the other person who is seeing your code, they will know what exactly is this, what type it is. So it is string, correct? So we need a string value. And do you want to have some default values? In case if you're not assigning, you can have a default values added over here. So I can have the default value DevOps mail hyphen RG, something like this. So this is a default value. In case if you're not using it, this is how you will be calling it. Okay, but this is how you will be defining the variables. Okay, now how do you call this variable values now inside your file? This is where, do you see where dot resource name? This is the name which you have given, where dot resource name. This is the name, local name again. So this is the local name I'm calling over here. I can even do the same thing for, I can do the even same thing for my location also, guys. If you want to have define a variable, a location is okay, that's okay. But definitely I'll change this storage account name. Okay, so let's have one more variable defined. Again a variable, name it as storage name. Same thing, let's copy paste this entire thing again. Storage account name. Okay, now I'll give the storage account name over here. I'll just call this name inside my storage account. Remove this, where storage account. I can even change this account tier, So this is how in real time. So in real time, guys, when you see any Terraform configuration, you will see two files basically, main.tf and variable.tf. Main.tf, you will see the Terraform block, the provider block, and the resource block, everything inside the main.tf file. And you will see a separate file, variable.tf, where all the variables and the values will be defined. But I'll not suggest to follow the same path. You should always have such segregation done. You should have provider.tf, you should have resource group.tf. So whatever resource you're creating, you should have a separate file for them. Now this managing becomes very easy when you try to manage later, when you start debugging your configuration. So management part becomes very easy if you have separate files. Okay. So putting everything in the same main.tf file, that is something I don't recommend. That is not the best practice. But yeah, always I have seen in many projects wherein I've seen people writing Terraform configuration. This is the standard what they follow. But the way we are writing right now, this is each resource has a separate file. Okay. Now, if there's any issue, you can go directly to that file and you can fix it. This is how you should do. Now, variable.tf, we got the variable.tf file. Now let's do the validate again and see if things are looking good. Now with this variable.tf, the benefit is if I want to share this configuration files with you guys can also use it. The only thing is you need to have this values change. That's it, nothing else. Okay. Now if I just do the format again, done. If I do the plan, you'll have the same plan basically. Nothing will change. Now this is more. So whenever, for being a DevOps engineer, guys, the main responsibility is whatever you do, make sure those things are reusable. If your configuration, if any of your file is not reusable, it's a completely waste. It should be reusable. Now this configuration which we have written, this is reusable. I can reuse this configuration wherever I want. If I want to share it with some other developer, they can reuse it. The only thing they need to go and change is the variable values. That's it. Okay. Now if you see this, I am getting the plan output. This is basically will go and create the plan for me. Okay. This is the naming convention, LRS standard, DevOps mail essay. This is the naming convention what we're using over here. See, this is the name from where exactly this name is defined. This name is defined in the variable. Same goes with the resource group name. Where exactly this name is defined, the name is defined at the variable section. Okay. Now this is if I want to go and apply, guys, I can easily do it. I can go and apply, and I can go and let's do apply. I'll do auto approve, guys. Okay, this will go and create the resource group first, then it will go and create the storage account for me. Let's wait while it is getting created.
I have a quick question. For some reason, whenever I do the Terraform init, it's not downloading my my provider's the provider file plugin.
What is the error?
It's not even giving an error. It's saying everything is succeeding. My Terraform init, Terraform validate, Terraform plan, it's all succeeding, but it's not creating any resources. It keeps on saying 0 resources created, but I noticed that it's not downloading my 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 plugins, my provider. Whenever I do the Terraform, run the Terraform init command, for some reason it's not downloading my plugins.
Okay, so firstly, your Terraform validate and all this command will not even work if there's no provider. Okay, so the resource is not getting created. That's a different issue. But if the provider is not there, then it will not run the validate command also. Now this is a hidden file, hidden folder. You have to make sure that you are viewing the hidden items also. See this inside my views, if you see I have the hidden item checked, then I'm seeing these hidden files. If I just uncheck this, even this folder what you see, if I refresh this, this will be gone. It is by default. Okay, make sure this hidden item is visible. This is one way. I got some error, I'll see the error later. Second
Right.
way, if
But
you
the
want
only
to,
the only way you get that is to, like you said, have your provider configuration file and then run the Terraform in it, and
correct.
then to download that. And I do have um, the provider script, and I ran
Mhm.
the Terraform in it, and it's still not downloading that the plugins.
Okay. Can I jump in?
Okay, no problem, we'll see it, no worries.
Okay. Can I say something right quick?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I had the same problem. Did you save the file before running the Terraform init?
Yeah, it's saved. I didn't actually hit save, but it looks like it was saving it automatically.
No, no, you have to save it. Then
Okay,
once you save it, then you run init. I'm sure it
okay,
will.
okay. I'll give
Perfect,
that a shot. Thank you.
perfect, no problem. Great, guys. Now if you see this apply, we are getting some error. Creating Azure storage account client, request, original error. The storage account name is already taken. So someone is using my name. So let's go and change it. SA123. Okay. I'm just putting 123 at the end now, and I'll do the apply again. So someone used my name. So your storage account name, your web app name, those names should be unique. Okay. If those names are not unique, you'll end up getting error. Okay. Let's see. Let's wait while the Terraform configuration is getting created again. I'll have the resource group created by now, because while the storage account was getting created at that time, the things has failed. Okay, let's wait. Guys, when you use Visual Studio, in case if you make any changes, okay, so at the top you'll see a dot, white dot, which says the file is not saved. Okay, so make sure to see those signals, and if there's any typo you did or any wrong thing you did, so the color will change basically. If I remove anything right now, then the color coding will change. This is all happening because of the Terraform plugin which we're using. Okay, so those are the signals basically will tell you that you have done something wrong before moving ahead. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, this is created perfect. My Terraform is created. I can go and look into the state file. Now I can see, do you see this mode? Mode is managed. So this is a Terraform managed services. Now from where did the provider download it? The registry.terraform.io HashiCorp Azure RM. This is something I said earlier. Now this is your resource group which got created, followed by your storage account which got created. So access to your hot storage v2 LRS standard. Now whatever you needed, this is the name of your storage account which got created perfectly. Now if I just verify this, where is the resource group? Okay, we not, let me go back to a different account. This is the account which we were using yesterday, and we did easy login with this account. See this resource group over here, and in the resource group we got the storage account created, DevOps SA123. Perfect. Now let's see the state file. This is a state file. Now you have access to the state file. That's why you're able to view all this information. Even though suppose you don't have access to the cloud, with the help of state file, you will know what exactly got created. Okay. Or else from the command line also, you can use Terraform show, and this will give you the list of resources which got created using the state file. So basically this command goes and reads the state file and it is giving you the output with the Terraform show. There are other commands. Terraform state list basically will give you the list of resources which got created. So we got two resources which got created. Now when do we use such commands? Terraform state list, Terraform show. There are a number of other commands also, guys. Terraform, if you do a help, you can know what are the list of commands you can use. Terraform state, Terraform taint, Terraform show, Terraform refresh, something we did yesterday. Login, logout, this is when you connect to the Terraform registry and if you're trying to push your own provider and things like that. Okay, now this state file, this is basically is used to manage your Terraform resources. Like we have used the state list, move, pull, remove, show, all these are the commands which you can use it. Now, when do we use these commands? Now, in my case, I have my state file. We all know the state file which got created. This is a very important file. We all agree. If I go and delete this state file, what will happen? Terraform will not come to know what resources were getting managed by Terraform by the configuration. Terraform will try to recreate things that for you. If you go and delete your state file, or if the state file gets corrupted, okay, Terraform will not be able to manage your resources. This state file is very, very important. Okay, now till the time I'm the only, if I'm the only developer and if I'm keeping the state file locally, that is perfect because I'm the only developer. I'm managing the state file, I'm managing the configuration. But in reality, you are not the only developer who will be editing changes or making configuration changes to your to your Terraform. There will be n number of other developers working with you. Okay, so if you're keeping your state file on a local system, do you think you will be able to do you think they will be able to contribute to your Terraform configuration? The answer is no. Many of you will say that we can keep this state file in Git repository and we can set it. Correct? It's a valid option. But let me tell you, this is valid, but this is not secure option. So you're doing a security breach over here. When you're putting your state file in a Git repository, if you go and look into your state file, there are many sensitive information. Sometimes there will be keys. Okay, you will find out keys, sensitive attributes, and all these cannot be kept inside a remote repository. Whenever there is a sensitive information, you cannot keep such things in a Git repository. Remember pre-hooks, post-hooks, which we had Talisman installed on a Git. Your Talisman will go and filter out all these files for you, and it will not let you push. So how do we share the state file first? How do we make sure that there are other developers also can contribute to my project? And how do we securely keep the state file in a different remote location where your configuration is not there? Your configuration can go in Git. Your all this resource group.tf, storage account.tf, you can keep it in Git. There's no issue. But the state file needs to be kept separate due to security purpose. Okay. Understood? Why do we need to keep state file separate? The use case, guys. Anyone has any concern? Why are we keeping the state file separate? One important thing, once the state file is getting used, you cannot modify the state file. Like there are 5 developers working on your Terraform configuration. And if I started my work first, I want that state file to be locked while my processing is happening. I don't want the state file to get overridden by someone else. Okay, if I'm working, like suppose if I'm making changes and if my apply is running, I don't want others like Ken and all to make changes to my configuration. The state file should get locked automatically. all these features we want. Okay, so this feature is available with storage account. This feature which I just spoke about, we got this feature available with, if you're using a state file. So there are multiple backend wherein you can keep your state file. You can keep it in AWS S3, you can keep it in Azure, you can keep it in GCP, you can keep it in a file share, whichever location you want, all it, and you can keep it on your local path. So as if now, if what you see, this is kept on my local drive, which is not, if I'm working alone, that is totally fine, but if I'm working as a team, this is not a right option. So as we are learning Azure, so let me show you in Azure using storage account how you can keep your state file. Okay, now Azure has a very, storage account has a very good feature of leasing and unleasing. What exactly that feature is, let's understand that. Using that feature will be making sure that the state file is getting locked when someone is using it and it is not corrupted. And plus storage account also has a feature of versioning. So easily you can go and do the versioning also. Let me create a new resource group. I'm creating manually. I can do it using Terraform also, guys. But for now, let me have this created manual. Okay. Understood, guys, what exactly we are doing. I'm creating a storage account. Then I'll show you how do I store my state file, which is getting created locally right now, to my remote location. Okay, this is done. Where is the storage account? Let me create a new storage account. Well, RG, name it as well to, no, I cannot use dash and all. Let's try this. Storage hyphen, should not use all this. SA. Okay, well, storage hyphen SA. Location East US. Standard, let's select LRS over here. Review and create. So there is a concept of backend block. Okay, so using the backend block, you can go and we can go and store a storage state file in that backend block. Okay, while this is getting created, let me show you the official documentation of backend block. Terraform backend Azure RM. Okay, now this is what the backend looks. Store the state as a blob with a given key. This is the configuration which we need to use it. Okay, I don't want to show this. Now, what are the available backend blocks? You can have local, remote, Azure RM, console, GCP, Kubernetes, S3. All these are options. These are the places wherein you can have your backend created. Okay. So Terraform uses persistent state data to keep track of resources. Okay, that's the state file. So in most trivial Terraform configuration, ideally integrate with Terraform Cloud or use backend to store state remotely. If you're using the enterprise version, guys, so there is an option of storing your state file in Terraform Cloud, which Terraform will store automatically for you. But most of the cases, you'll not be using the enterprise version, you'll be using the open source. So you'll be using this state, remote state location, wherein you'll be storing your state file. Okay. I got the state file created. Let me quickly go and create. Sorry, I got the storage account created. Let me quickly go and create a blob. Wait, let's go to container. Let's name it whatever name you want to give. Let's name it as blob create. Okay. Now, how do I use this backend block? The code is given, guys. You don't need to remember anything. If the code is given, if I go to the available code, there is an option of Azure RM. Go and use this. Copy this part. Come to your Visual Studio Code, and this will come inside Terraform block. Okay. After the required providers, paste this. Make sure to remove, okay, wait. When you're copying, make sure just copy, don't copy the Terraform block, just copy the backend block. Okay, because if you copy the Terraform block, you will end up getting error. Okay, the formatting will be done automatically. Wait. I've not saved it. Now see, I've not saved it. That's why this is a white dot, what you see at the top. Now if I save it, the white dot is gone. Now if I do a format, the proper formatting will happen. Done. The formatting has happened. Now what is the resource group name? I'll go to my resource group, which I've just created. This is the resource group name. Copy it. Put it over here. What is the name of your storage account? Name of your storage account is this. Copy it. Put it over here. Container name. The container name is we have given as blob. This is the name of the container we have given. Correct. That is the name of the container. Blob. Third, what is the name? How you want to store your state file? Do you want to keep it as prod? So if I keep this as a key, so my state file will be created as prod.terraform.tf state. If I change anything, then that state file will be created. Okay. Now this is what the backend. Let's do a quick validation. Unexpected backend block. This should be over here. This should be. And are we at the right place? Okay. So it should be in the Terraform block. This is good. This should be on the required providers. This is good. Now this is looking good. Good. Okay. So this is how this backend block also comes inside your Terraform block, wherein you will have your state file information. Okay. Now I was talking about something called lease and unlease. Now if you see this lease state over here, this is showing available. This means that this particular container is available right now. If anyone wants to use it, they can use it. And as soon as I start running my Terraform commands, you will see this state getting changed. This is a feature of storage account, guys, not a feature of Terraform. This lease is basically what will happen when the lease is taken. That means the file is getting processed somewhere. Okay, till the time the processing is not completed, the lease will not be removed. Okay, in between, if someone else wants to access the file or want to make any changes to the Terraform configuration, they have to wait till the time the lease is not removed. So what is the benefit of doing this? The benefit is no one can overwrite your file, no one can corrupt your file, and that is very much required when you're working with Terraform state. Okay, now if I want, this is already created, nothing will happen basically, but I can have a refresh done. Or let me show you the apply and see if anything happens, because we got a different auto apply. So it's not auto apply, it is auto approve. Initialization needs to be done again. Okay, now if you see the error, because we have added something to your Terraform block, there is something added to your Terraform block, then you need to have the initialization done again. Without initialization, nothing will happen, guys. So again, we need to do initialize, because we made changes to the Terraform block. Then in that case, you need to go and do the initialization again. Initializing the backend. See, See what exactly it is asking, because we do have a local, what do we have? We have a local TF state file. Now we have configured a remote state file. It is asking, do you want to copy the file? Yes, no. I say yes because yeah, that is the right file we have, correct? See, do you see the releasing state lock? Successfully configured. Done. Perfect. It has happened immediately. Do you see this prod.terraform.tf state file, guys? Created over here. Now, if you go to edit, you can view the state file over here. Now, this is the right place to keep your state file. Now, you can use, if you want to read the state file, you can use the state command, list command, and all those extra things. What you want to do, you can do it. Okay. But this is where the state file needs to be. This is how the state file needs to be kept. Okay. Let me give you an example of state file. Now, I have not enabled versioning, guys. Okay. So if there's no versioning enabled over here, if you want to go and enable versioning at the storage account level, you can go and do it. You can go to redundancy, not redundancy, data protection. And if you come down, there is a soft delete enabled, which I don't want. But if you want to enable versioning, see, enable versioning for blobs, you can do it. What it will do, if you, when you start making changes to your state file, it will start creating the versions. And that is, from the security perspective, that is something you should keep and do it in advance. Okay. If you want to enable, just save it. It will automatically start creating versions for your blob if you make changes. Okay. Now, this is, you're keeping your state file. I'll be sharing this configuration with you guys, don't worry. Now, one more thing. Now, even though if I delete the state file, it's of no use, guys, because the state file is already migrated to my remote. If I go and delete the state file, there's no use. The state file work is done now. Okay, we have the state file kept somewhere else. Now I've said something like, when you do a destroy, what happens? Everything gets destroyed, correct? Now, if I run the command terraform state list, I got couple of resources created. I got a resource group created. I got a storage account created, correct? Now, if I want to delete something, like if I do a destroy command, what will happen? Both the resource will be deleted. But my target is just to delete the storage account, not the resource group. My resource group may have some other resources also. Just imagine it got web app server running in. If I run the destroy command, everything will be deleted. Now I just want to delete this part. How do I delete? I can easily delete with the command terraform destroy. Then I can use a flag called target. What is the flag I'm using? Target, and I give the name. After running the command, the name which I'm getting, I just give the name, and I can use auto approve. This will go and destroy only the storage account. It will not destroy the, see, acquiring state lock. If I go back to my blob quickly, do you see this state? Leased. Now no one can use this particular state file. This is leased because there is a lock, acquiring state lock. This is not a feature of Terraform, guys. Do not get confused. This is a feature of storage account. Previously, AWS S3 was not having this feature. That's why we were using DynamoDB for this feature. Just for this feature, we were using DynamoDB. Now, I believe even S3 has this feature. Okay. Now, this was the feature first introduced in Azure itself. Now, people have copied this. Don't worry. Okay. Now, once it will get deleted, the state file will get updated and the lease will be removed. This lock which is there, the lock will be removed basically. Any doubt, any questions, anyone? Okay, now if you see this particular resource is getting deleted. The resource group will not be deleted because we are just destroying the storage account, not the complete resource group. So using the target flag, you can have specify which resource to delete.
Got a quick question. Were
Yep.
you destroying the storage account that contains the blob?
No.
Okay.
So that storage account, that's why I've kept it in a separate resource group, and I've created that storage account manually. And this is the one which we created using Terraform. That is the one we are deleting it. Okay.
Is it possible to create two storage accounts while you writing the initial file, creating two storage accounts, and then writing the Terraform file to also store the state file that gets created into one of the storage accounts?
No. So if you want to keep your configuration in the state file, the location should be pre-created. Because what will happen if the storage account is not there, and if you have mentioned the storage account inside your configuration, the first thing happens is the state file gets created. Then your resource starts getting created inside the state file. So you'll get an error. Backend not found. That is the error what you will get.
Gotcha.
So,
Thank you.
so that's why you need to have the state location created beforehand before you go and start running your execution task. Okay,
Yeah, got it.
no problem. Now, what else? Okay, I'll keep the state file. Now let's go and look into the state file. Do you see everything is deleted? The only thing is the resource group. The resource group is intact and the storage is deleted. There's no version because we have not enabled the versioning part, guys, but always you should enable versioning when you're doing anything as such. Okay. Now, if you want to acquire, if I refresh this release will be removed now. See, available. Okay. So we got the state file, everything is in place. I'm not deleting this storage account today, guys. This is something we'll use tomorrow again. Let me destroy everything for today. So this will go and delete the resource group also. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Tomorrow we'll create one more new configuration. Tomorrow we'll create web app. So we'll have a web app created like the way we did it with ARM templates. And then we'll integrate Terraform. This is all I'm doing locally right now. All the Terraform workflow, I'm running it locally. Tomorrow I'll integrate it with Azure DevOps pipelines. So all this command which I'm running manual will automate that using pipelines. Okay. So that is something we'll do. And post that, if time permits, we'll have a session on we'll start with Ansible also tomorrow itself. So that is the part which is remaining in Terraform. Make sure this all practice, because now there are so many tools coming in. Now we have Terraform, we'll start with Ansible, then we'll start with Docker, then we'll start with Kubernetes, then we'll start with AKS, then we'll start with Helm chart, Istio. Okay, then we have the monitoring tools. So there are so many tools back to back. So you have to make sure that you practice this and be very thorough. And I'll show you easy way of creating resources using Terraform. You don't need to remember anything. No flags, no syntax, nothing you need to remember. Using the documentation, you'll be able to create any sort of Terraform configuration, whether it is complex or the easier one. Just make sure to follow the same trend, the way I am following, creating configurations separately for each and every resources. So that whenever there is an error, you can go and easily identify and look into the error, what exactly is wrong, and you can play around with it. Okay,
I have a
that's it
quick
for me.
question.
Yeah, tell me.
I don't know if you already mentioned it, but if I was if I was to share this script with other developer, how do I go about it? I don't know if you already mentioned it.
No. So you want to share this script with?
With all the developers.
Yeah. So that is with, tomorrow we'll put this script, all this script, I'll put it in Git repository.
Okay.
So that is how I'll share. So that's why we'll keep the scripts in Git repository and we'll keep the state file separately in the store backend location. You can
So
keep this script, all the scripts in the repository also. There's no harm keeping this script. And that is something we'll do tomorrow. I'll create a new script for your web app and we'll have that script. We'll create a new repository. We'll keep the repository and we'll keep the script in that repository. And from there, we'll have the pipelines created, which will, the things which I'm doing it manually right now, running the Terraform init, Terraform apply, and all this, that will be done using pipelines after this in tomorrow's session. So
okay.
we'll automate the process. The one which we are doing manual today, tomorrow we'll automate the process. That is the only thing we'll do. Okay,
All right.
makes sense?
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, anyone else?
Hi Rohit, can you please assist me to enable the extension in a Visual Studio? Can I share my screen if you have
Yeah,
time now?
surely we can do that. So guys, if there's no question, I'll stop the recording and there's no question, guys, correct? Anyone has any question, any doubt before I stop the recording? Okay, no problem. Let me stop it.